Yo, what is up, guys? We are back to Earthlock. Now, this is not going to be a story progression stream video. Yeah, y'all know how that is. This is going to be me farming in the background and actually talking about something very, it's a misconception, I guess I should say. Most people don't know the difference between Earthlock Festival of Magic and Earthlock. For anyone wanting to know, they are both the same game technically. They're made by the same people. There is I think, year or two difference in when they were released. Now, for the record being, the reason for that is basically Earthlock Festival of Magic, if I remember right, came out in 2016 or it was 2017. Now then, you might be thinking, well, why did they make another one and why isn't it just Earthlock 2 and why is the name shorter? Well, the actual reason for that is because Earthlock Festival of Magic was an indie game that received a budget and was able to actually, you know, fund their own game and make a game. They made a deal with Microsoft, which gave them enough time and money to make the full game Earthlock Festival of Magic. Okay, well then, they basically instantly, as soon as this game was released, if I remember right, it was on Games with Gold for free. And a lot of people were just happy about it because it was a free game. Problem is it was too hard to beat. And I know that's kind of like, well, it's a JRPG, except it's not a Japanese RPG, and it's a turn-based RPG, so obviously you have to farm. Well, a lot of people didn't know that at the time. I guess that year specifically, there had been so few RPGs, which, by the way, in their defense, there were few RPGs. I think literally Xbox is running on, like, what, 10, maybe? Maybe 10, and that's if you don't count, like, the type of fighting we have right now, I think there's only, like, 5 or 6 of, and then if you actually count turn-based, like a board game, then you have slightly more, but not really. Anyway, though, so, yeah, that's kind of how that worked. So what happened, though, was the game was just very unpopular. However, a lot of people got it for free. A lot of people tried to play it, and at about the halfway point in the game, most people just quit, because, you know, it's a very difficult game, late game. What most people didn't realize is there is a reason for that. The reason the game was so difficult is the game wasn't complete. The actual way that the game worked was there was supposed to be a weapon system. There's supposed to be a bunch of things, actually. A lot of cut content, cut cutscenes. I've heard that there were cut areas. The graphics were worse than they should have been. And what basically happened was, after this game came out, it was okay, people played it. I don't know if it was funding from Microsoft or what it was, but they apparently had enough money to keep their company going for a little bit longer. And I'm saying apparently because this game was free for the first month it was out. That's normally not a good sign. Apparently, though, it did decent. I don't know if it just wasn't free and it was, like, on Steam or something. I know it's on PC, so I'd assume it's on Steam. What I do understand, though, is that basically they got enough money, and they made a second one. The second one came out in 2008. I don't know what month, didn't feel like looking it up, but it's just simple. It came out in 2008. 18. God. Why did I say 8? Anyway, 2018. So, when it came out in 2018 as a, just Earthlock, and not Earthlock Festival of Magic, well, the things that changed, from what I can tell, it goes down to slight things and big things. For example, if we look up in the menu right now, there's actually it's either an equipment or a weapons tab. I don't remember. It's been a bit since I looked at it. There's collectible weapons. That's another thing. Getting one of each weapon is an achievement in the Earthlock version. Earthlock Festival of Magic, that's not a thing. Basically, though, the main changes are Earthlock Festival of Magic actually has better graphics in combat for the most part. At least, like, in terms of the backdrop. I don't know why, but they completely decided to just remake the game, completely new graphics, but for some reason, they made the combat graphics slightly worse in terms of backdrop. The characters actually look nicer, though. They're a lot more smoother built. It's just the backdrop's worse for some reason in that version. However, though, the free roam, which I guess they wanted that to look pretty, they upgraded the graphics on, and it looks a lot more detailed. To the point that you can actually make out, like, stones, and if you look at certain structures, they look finely tuned. A good example of this is towards the start of the game, there's a fallen pillar in the Zumbria Temple, and for some reason in Earthlock, just Earthlock, in that version, it's very detailed, and it's like a straight-out prism, like a, not cube, but like a rectangular prism. And it's like, for some reason, they went into a lot of detail on structures and stuff, but the combat looks worse. Now, though, another thing to mention is that the game is a lot easier. The reason it's easier is there's a weapon system. The whole point of the weapons were they were supposed to boost your stats. I'm not exactly sure by how much, as I haven't played Earthlock, but to give you a good example of the difference in difficulty between the two games, Earthlock Festival of Magic on Xbox One currently has less than 1% of people who have beaten it, and Earthlock has 10%. The difference being here that both games had a couple million people who've been on it, like the very bare minimum. And the reason I say a couple million is because Earthlock Festival of Magic, majority of people who got it free. Earthlock, most people actually bought it, or they got it for free. And the reason they got it for free is Earthlock, when it was released, anyone who previously had Festival of Magic actually got Earthlock for free whenever it was released. Now, I didn't even notice it was out in the store. I knew there were two versions, I just didn't know why. Apparently a lot of people didn't know why either, and that's basically it. It's just, they had very poor funding for the first game, and then they completed it on the second game that was made. Now, if you actually plan on getting either, on Xbox at least, you can't get Festival of Magic anymore. They took it off the store. The reason was because obviously it was an incomplete game. However, they are two separate games, and I'm pretty sure on PC you can still get Festival of Magic. I'm not positive on that. But just know that obviously Earthlock, just Earthlock, no Festival of Magic, that one is much better. It's much more well made, and it was, you know, it had a lot more time to be well made. Now, also, for anyone wondering the specific the terms of just how much farming you'd have to do in either game, well, max level in Earthlock Festival of Magic, it's 20. In Earthlock, it's 22. The difference in these two being is that Earthlock was a much more expanded on area with a lot more enemies that varied in level. Varied, not varied. Anyway, though, so you had a lot more places to just level up as you progress through the game. Earthlock Festival of Magic, per area, there were maybe 5 or 4 enemies, all about the same level, and it was just, like, in this place specifically, Trimble Tree, it's right by the start of the game, but it has level, like, what, 15 enemies? And given max level's 20, I mean, like, literally, 2 or 3 hours into the game, I was farming here, and I'm already getting pretty close to max level, and, yeah. Well, anyway, in just Earthlock, you don't have to farm like that, and I do say have to, because the reason a lot of people didn't beat Festival of Magic is because of that very poor pacing. People didn't think they had to farm. They thought, oh, well, this is going great. Well, there are certain boss fights where you have that realization, but it's a little bit too late for that. You kind of just, you're there, you gotta fight the boss. You could always teleport out, but it doesn't feel like there's anywhere to farm because of the way it was set up. So it's kind of like, if you didn't know about Trimble Tree, at about the level 9 to 12 range, you're kind of just like, oh, I'm going to progress really slowly, and not know that there was a much easier way you could have gone about it. So it's nice to know, though, that they did come back. They made basically not even a remaster, an expanded on edition of the game. It's like, for example, if Witcher 3 came out, and then all of its DLCs came out in a separate game that you got for free, because the game was actually meant to have those DLCs all in one. Now, for some reason, and I don't know what it is, a lot of people assume that the reason that Earthlock Festival of Magic was made the way it was, like, it feels like there's a lot of cut content, honestly, and there is. However, it's not in the places that Earthlock put the cut content. Because Basically, all Earthlock does is it expands on Earthlock Festival of Magic's cutscenes. I guess you can call them. It's text box cutscenes, so eh. But basically, though, they expand on those. A lot of people who played this, ironically, feel as though there was just flat-out cut content. A good example of this would be at the start of the game, for some reason, you get Eve, the girl in blonde hair, and you're thinking, oh, well, she's going to be useful. Yeah, if you were actually farming, even without Tremel Tree, you were just farming up to, like, say, level 8, 9. Yeah, you get her at, like, level 6 or 7. That might not seem like a big difference. It's a couple hundred health difference. And given how much damage enemies do, that is a lot. So, I mean, it feels like Eve was supposed to have her own little side story also, because you start off as her, you play a quick tutorial, and then you don't touch her for another, like, 2 or 3 hours. So, yeah, I feel like there was supposed to be something where it was like she had her own story and you were supposed to go through. A lot of people apparently think that also in forums, but I don't know what to tell you on that one. So, yeah. Basic story, though, is if you plan on getting either Festival of Magic Earthlock or regular Earthlock, obviously, get Earthlock. Don't get Festival of Magic. Festival of Magic is beatable, however, because there is a difficulty spike. Even the final boss, because there was no weapon system, the final boss, even if you've got a full talent board, which the talent board is basically you can make your character stronger with specific stats, you can change them out, you get more by doing boss fights or mini bosses, which apparently there are secret bosses hidden around the map. I haven't done any of them yet because we're still live streaming this and going through it as, like, you know, a stream. But that being said, though, regular Earthlock, you don't have to do that. You can beat the final boss under leveled. So it's, I guess I should say they made the pacing better. That's the main difference. Also a little bit of graphic changes and weapons, obviously. But that's the main difference. Oh yeah, they also, when you're looking at this, they also added a quest page. Yeah, like, you see pairs, items, abilities, bonds, talents, tutorials, map, Nart's log, bestiary, options. Well, there was a quest tab also. Now, why there was a quest tab? Because this game has side quests. You don't have that otherwise. You have to physically walk around and remember where your side quests are. Which, by the way, there aren't a lot as far as I know. I'm halfway through the game on this live stream. And I think we found one where we have to find like 35 ghost tags or whatever. We found one where we have to find all the barnacles, which I don't know. They're just side enemies that run around. They're not hard to find. The other thing, though, that is a side quest. Technically, it's not really a side quest, it's the main quest, which, so, you know, quest in general. And they've made a quest log for it, which is nice. However, Earthlock Festival of Magic didn't have something that basic. So it's kind of like, yeah, they did good, but the fact that some of this stuff wasn't in the base game is kind of weird. Also, the fact that they called it Earthlock instead of Earthlock Festival of Magic Remastered or something like that's also weird. There's probably a few different reasons for it. I mean, they might have just named it Earthlock because that sounds better than Earthlock Festival of Magic because it's a longer name. Maybe that was the idea there. I don't know what to tell you. But, I mean, from what I can tell, both games are good. It's just more along the lines of, if you want something that feels like it was actually crafted to be good, don't get Festival of Magic. I mean, that's what we're playing right now, though, so, If you like what you see, get it, but it's a little bit of a, you gotta grind if you want to be good. And I mean, you don't really have to, it's just easier. So, yeah. Anyway, I hope that was helpful for any confusion anyone had. I'm sure some people already figured most of that stuff out. You can find it in forums, you can find it in Reddit posts, stuff like that. It's just, I thought I'd make a short little, maybe 10-15 minute video to just, you know, sort that out so that anyone who wanted to know knows what's the difference. I mean, it's nothing big. It's literally just slightly expanded cutscenes, graphical differences, and the weapon system, which, hey, oh yeah, and also, you know, extra enemies to spread out pacing. So, yeah. I mean, in all seriousness, though, Earthlock Festival of Magic isn't bad. It's just not good by comparison to what it should have been. And Earthlock is what it should have been. I feel like even Earthlock itself should be expanded on. I've heard that they've thought about releasing a second one. I don't know if that's gonna be a thing or not, like if they made the money for that. However, if they did, it might be worth a buy, just because, you know, it might be good. Anyway, so I hope y'all liked watching. Like and subscribe if you want to do those things, and hopefully I'll see you next time. So, bye-bye.